December 2019, the British public were called to vote in the first December general election in almost 100 years. Whereas most people would have expected to be only thinking of Christmas, the timing of the election instead made people wonder who would win, the jolly fat man with his generous gifts, or the bearded fellow, initialed JC, who had recently fallen out of favour with the Jews. This was the outcome.
It is 6 minutes past 5 in the morning, and we are now in a position to say that this election of 2019 formally has been won by the Conservatives.
As you can see, Boris Johnson and the Conservative Party won a landslide victory against Jeremy Corbyn, who represented the Labour Party.
I say respectfully to our stentorian friend in the blue 12-star hat. That's it. Time to put a sock in the megaphone.
There has been much analysis into how and why Boris Johnson was able to achieve such a large majority given the party's history. However, the intention of this documentary is to look at the link between the outcome of the vote and people's attitudes at Christmas. Before asking the public what they thought, I put the question, how do you think belief will impact people's voting, to those more qualified on religious and political matters?
So, for me, I hope that for people of faith, their religion would have a huge impact on who they choose as their local candidate to vote for in the general election. My hope would be that people would use Bible values about support for those who are most needy, about equality and about love to kind of guide them in the way that they choose the particular candidate that they want to vote for in the general election.
People who are religiously observant certainly take any sort of election seriously, without a doubt.
It surely must affect how you would vote. That must have an influence on how you would vote. And if it doesn't, then you can't really follow that religion. That's just my personal view.
I suppose the thing is that what's the percentage of religious observance in the country is really very small. As sort of 50% of the country might refer to themselves as Christian, but actually practicing other than at Christmas is very, very small, isn't it? It's sort of 15%, maybe 10-15%, very relatively small numbers. So it's those who are active observers who will allow their religion to influence how they vote, or use their religion to influence how they vote. And that sort of faith, I suppose, it's similar to the faith you have to have in politics. To be active in politics, you have to have a faith that something's going to be better in the future, I guess, and a belief that you can, your way is right and all the other ways are wrong, which I suppose there's an overlap of that sort of belief.
I think we've got to a state of society now where people care about each other much less than they ever have in my lifetime, certainly. And I think that back in the day when religion had a bigger part to play in people's lives, we had I want to call it charity, but actually caring about each other. Christmas is about someone being born who cared so much that he gave his life for the world. That's what the Christians believe anyway. And we're coming up to Christmas now, within a Christmas election, and I've never heard so much bile, vitriol, hate speech, and it appalls me. And I think having a religious viewpoint on life should stop people reacting like that.
I think Britain has a history as a compassionate society. Whether that's still as strong now, I think it will be debatable. Over the course of the last, 6 or 7 years, or 8 years, the visible compassion in society possibly has diminished, some would argue quite dramatically.
If religion teaches us anything, surely it should teach us that we're all human beings and we're all one people. We all live on one world. We should be able to get along together.
The church or religion has become less influential at a state level.
Separation of church and state has really got any influence on anybody, though, to be quite honest. As I say, if you've got a faith, then you should be practicing your faith in everything you do. Otherwise, it's not really a faith.
I had wanted to hear the opinions of Anne-Marie Trevelyan and Tom Hancock. However, neither of them responded to my initial emails. Next, it was the public's turn. I chose the Christmas market in Northumberland Street, Newcastle, as my hunting ground.
The only thing that will make difference is that people are so busy Christmas shopping, they have no time to vote. I just don't think religion has got anything to do with it. It's all, everybody makes words, but they don't say anything.
When asked about Jeremy Corbyn and the comments made by the chief rabbi that he was unfit for office, this is what one man had to say.
He's a Marxist, isn't he? From top to bottom.
There you go. Interestingly enough, I encountered a Hare Krishna monk collecting money for charity who agreed to be in the documentary.
But I don't think that Christmas has got much to do with religion nowadays anyway. I think most people view it as really a time for family. They asked me, would I be celebrating Christmas? And I said, well, I'm going to be spending some time with some family. And then someone said to me, well, that's the main thing. And yeah, I think most people aren't really interested in religion nowadays. I think people are more concerned with, economic prosperity and, improving their situation in life, really. A lot of people don't really like the kind of the mass consumerism, the mass kind of materialism of it. But they feel that it's more something to, it's time to spend with the family.
As you saw at the beginning, on the 13th of December, it was announced that the Conservative Party had won the election. A few days later, I spoke to Father Keys of the Catholic Church.
Politics and religion, they deal with the same things in many ways. They're dealing with people, they're dealing with the rights of people, they're dealing with how people should be able to live, a life of dignity. And so, I think it's necessary, that religion has a political kind of edge to it. People who are motivated by faith are motivated by all things to do with justice, all things to do with fairness and equality and people's rights. Well, I think the materialism is always going to be a big attraction for people to live their lives in that way. It's part of human nature to want to possess as much as possible, or to have as much as possible in order to be secure in their life. But in a way, people at some stage discover that there's something more to life than just wanting to have all the material possessions that you might want to build up. In a way, materialism gives you security, okay, but it's a false security, because it's not going to last. And so it's there's something else that people find who are very materialistic, that they might say, well, it's all been a waste of time in a way, when they discover that there's just something deeper, or that there's something beyond material possessions,